Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're all doing well. Today I am out on the 2021 Honda NC750X, and I've had this bike for about a month now, so I kind of wanted to give a longer term kind of thoughts and impressions on this bike. So I decided to take a trip out to Canyon Lake, Arizona, someplace I haven't been in a while. I did not go on my last bike, and if you're new to the channel, I learned to ride about 2.5 years ago, and I've always ridden cruisers. My last bike was a 2020 Harley-Davidson Street Bob. I apologize if there's a lot of wind noise coming through on the microphone here, but it is a little bit windy today, and the helmet that I'm wearing, this is a Ruroc Atlas version 2.0. These are not the greatest for wind noise reduction. Luckily, that's pretty much it for the freeway portion of this ride. Now going back to the location, I'm heading out to Canyon Lake, Arizona. And the reason I picked this location was because I was unable to go out here on the Harley that I had. I mean, I was able, but I was having some serious heat issues with that bike, and I just figured it would not be a comfortable ride, so I kind of put it off. I always wanted to see how it would handle like the slightly more technical stuff. These roads over here have a lot of twists and turns to them. It's really a lot of fun to ride through. So every bike I get, I go through this route and see how it works out. So definitely wanted to try it out with this bike. Not only are the roads a lot of fun to ride through, but the scenery is pretty amazing too. So hopefully I'll get some good shots of that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did want to mention another feature about the dash on this bike. I don't know if you've noticed that there's a light on the upper right hand corner here. Now that light can be set for multiple functions on this bike. Right now I have it set for eco mode, or the fuel efficiency mode, whatever you want to call it, but it changes colors to let you know how fuel efficient you're doing. So the closer it gets to green, the better you're doing. So normally if you're in a higher gear at a lower RPM, then you're riding more efficiently. So I'm in 6th gear now, around almost 3,000 RPMs, and now I'm in the green. My average mile per gallon on here has been fluctuating over the last couple tanks here. The dash shows that currently I'm at 61.3 miles per gallon efficiency, and that's not too bad. I have been all the way up to, I believe, 64 miles per gallon, and that's not even trying. I mean, that's just I've actually been doing some speed tests on here and some other various tasks on here that I haven't been really riding efficiently at all. So it's not surprising that my fuel efficiency isn't as good as it could be yet. Checking with a couple other sources though, that seems to be the common consensus on this model so far. 64, 66 miles per gallon seems to be kind of the average. And again, I really think that's great fuel efficiency. I'm really happy with those numbers. So going back to this light up here, I think some of the other settings, after reading through the manual, it looks like you could set it to show you when to switch gears, like a gear indicator light. I didn't really find that as useful, especially since this is a DCT model and I don't have to shift it manually if I don't want to anyway, so I figured I wouldn't need that indication at all here. One question that I wanted to put out to you guys, since that I'm not really used to riding other bikes other than cruisers. When riding a taller bike like this, or is it just a lighter bike, I've noticed that I'm getting pushed around by the wind quite a bit on this bike, and I'm not sure why. I don't think it's the actual wind that's hitting me that's the problem. It's more so like crosswinds. So maybe somebody with a little bit more experience on bikes like this, you know, what do you think might be the issue here? You know, why am I getting blown around a little bit more than on something like the Harley? I noticed, you know, that was definitely a lot heavier bike. I didn't seem to have that kind of issue. But again, like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm taller up, so I'm noticing the wind hitting me from the sides a lot more, or is this just something that is going to happen on the taller bikes and you have to get used to it? I did do a test ride about a year ago on a Honda Africa Twin, and I didn't notice that problem. And that is definitely a taller bike, but it's quite a bit heavier than the NC750. So just kind of curious. You guys have been really great with the comments and stuff like that. A lot of useful stuff, especially the last couple videos about this bike. Lots of great communication and conversations happening down in the comment section. So thank you guys for that. I'm really happy to get the bike out this weekend. I was not able to ride the last couple weeks, I think, probably because I had a week where I was out on vacation and I was out of state. I wasn't able to take my bike with me, so I definitely missed it while I was away. And then last weekend it rained pretty much the whole weekend, and until I get a little bit more comfortable with this bike, I really don't want to take it out in the rain if I don't have to. But I have done a few days, commute days, to work on this bike, and I'll tell you, it's exactly what I was looking for as far as the commuter aspect. Now, I'm really happy that this has built-in storage, and I did put it to good use, but I actually had some extra stuff I had to bring to work with me on one of my trips last week, and I ended up having to wear a backpack anyway, which was one of the things that I said I probably would never have to do on this bike again. So yeah, I'm not getting rid of the backpack just yet. So here's where some of the nice scenery comes in. We've got the Superstition Mountains over here. Yeah, but I am noticing, you know, I'm not going too fast right now, but I am getting a lot of crosswind here, and it's not the greatest feeling. Kind of a constant struggle switching that weight back and forth. I think I just have to kind of loosen my body up and go with it a little bit. I haven't tried, you know, going like in a full tuck, and it helps a little bit, but not to where I think it should be. So I think for rides like this, I'm probably going to look into an aftermarket windshield. And again, you know, there have been some excellent suggestions for aftermarket windshields in the comments of the last couple videos, so really thankful for that input, and I'll be doing some research on that. So hope to do a couple more upgrades on this bike in the near future. I have ordered some other upgrade parts for this bike, but they seem to be back ordered at this time. It's really hard to get parts for a lot of bikes right now. So right now I'm riding in standard mode with engine braking kind of in the middle. This seems like it's a pretty good sweet spot for roads like this. It is nice just to be able to roll off the throttle and let the engine braking kind of do its thing and slow me down. I haven't really had to hit the rear brake that much at all. This road is so much fun to ride through though. And again, I'm taking it really slow because it's my first time through on this bike. Looks like there's some traffic up ahead too, so I might not have a choice in that matter. Yeah, lots of blind corners around here, so it's kind of scary and exhilarating at the same time. The seat is way better than the previous model, NC750. I did a test ride on the 2020 model, and I think my test ride was under 30 minutes long, and I couldn't wait to get off of that seat, just in that little test ride, you know. I think on this ride I'm at about the 40-minute mark right now, and still comfortable. So as of right now, I have no immediate concerns with the seat or swapping it out for something more comfortable. I may do that in the future if I see something that that comes out that kind of piques my interest. I'm going to take care of the stuff that will really suit me well first, and then kind of go to some of the cosmetic and more, you know, higher comfort stuff after that. You know, I think I'm going to go on record and say this is probably, out of all the bikes that I've had, this one is the most fun to ride through this particular road. This being lighter weight and, you know, feels more maneuverable to me. It makes you know, going through these corners seem a lot easier to me. Wow, what a great day today. The temperature out here is I think about 102, 103 today. The heat doesn't really seem that bad when you're moving though. If I stop for any amount of time, then it's gonna get warm. I've already done a first impressions video on this bike, so if you're interested in the specs, you might want to check that out. I will put a link for that video as well. So in the last video, I covered the pros and cons. I'm really not going to go over that at this time, but I did want to make special note of the seat. The previous owners, you know, prior to the 2021 model, were complaining that you know, the seat wasn't comfortable, and then there was a forward slope to it that would kind of jam you against the storage area here. It wasn't really comfortable, and I noticed that as well on the 2020 model. The 2021 does not suffer from that issue. The seat is great so far. I don't have any immediate plans to upgrade that at this time. So the other thing I didn't mention in the other video was the tires on here. These are Dunlop Trail Max D609s, and this is the first bike I've had with these tires, and they seem really good so far. They are popular tires. You know, from what I could tell, they have really good reviews, and I don't have anything bad to say about them at all. I haven't ridden in the rain on this thing yet, but the rain's performance is supposed to be good as well. If the situation presents itself, I'll let you know. Oh, the other thing that I had some questions about was the exhaust. And I mentioned in the previous video that I really like the exhaust note on this, but I didn't kind of do a sound test on it, so yeah, so sorry about that. But here's the sound test. I'll rev it up a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like. The main reason I decided to trade in my Street Bob was that I had some serious heat management issues with that bike. I spoke about it in a previous video, but the heat problems were really severe. I literally burned the inside of my right thigh on the exhaust heat that was coming off that bike, and that was just local street riding. I wasn't even doing a long trip on that. The bike was probably running for less than 30 minutes at the time. I mean, of course, this is Arizona. It was the middle of the summer, but I've never had that happen before, even on my other Harleys. So it was actually so uncomfortable that I found myself not riding that much during the summer, which was a real bummer. I definitely want to ride as much as I can. And again, nothing against Harleys or the Street Bob, in general, besides the issues that I had. Now, all that's subjective. For me, I love the bike. It just wasn't a perfect fit for me at the time. Now, another factor that led me to that decision to trade in the Harley was that I suddenly found myself in need of a new car. So I had some problems with my old car. I had purchased a used 2016 Volkswagen e-Golf, and I found myself in some situations where I needed a lot more range than that car could provide. I think on a good day I was getting 65 miles range on that. So I found myself almost stranded a couple times. So I ended up getting a Chevy Bolt that's got like 260 miles of range on it. So I'm good to go now. But with the new car being that expensive, I could not afford the Harley anymore. As you all know, Harleys are not cheap bikes. And even the Street Bob was like $6,000 more than this Honda. At that point, I had to pick out a bike that was a little more economical so that I could afford the new car and the bike at the same time. Again, personal situation, but those are the reasons behind it. Now, after some recent test rides on some other bikes, some taller bikes, I tried a Harley Livewire and a Zero FXS. Both of those bikes were taller bikes, and I found them a lot more comfortable. The cruiser bikes weren't working out for me anymore for a comfort level. So the other nice thing about the taller bikes is they've got better road presence. So, you're sitting up higher. This bike is, I think, 6 inches taller than my Harley Street Bob. But it's enough to be more comfortable in traffic, so I can kind of see what's coming up ahead instead of being, blocked by the smallest of vehicles that are driving in front of me. So I do feel a lot more confident on the road with this bike. So why did I pick the NC750X? Well, to be honest with you, I've had my eye on this bike for a long time. Actually, the last 2 Harleys that I traded in for other Harleys, I was actually looking at this bike, but the dealers I was going into would give me really lowball offers for, the trade value on the Harley. And I have taken the 2020 model for a test ride. I have a video on that as well. And that kind of sealed the deal. Once I rode the 2020 model, I knew this bike would work out great for me. And I have not been disappointed at all since picking this bike up. This bike is also very practical. Price-wise, I mentioned earlier, it was $6,000 less than the Harley Street Bob. So definitely affordable, paying for the car payment, and this, it really isn't a problem. And so far, it's been really great on gas. And the final reason I jumped on the 2021 model is it's a really good year to buy this bike. They have upgraded this with throttle-by-wire. So there's electronics package upgrades on here. You do have rider modes now. I'm not going to go into the debate about whether those rider modes are useful or not. That's subjective, and that's up to you to decide. So for me personally, I don't have any problems with the default standard mode on here. I think it works just fine. I do have quite a bit of fun on this bike, even in standard mode. Going back to a couple other questions I received on the video when I first announced this bike. A lot of people want to know what the 0 to 60 is on here, and I attempted to do that a couple of times. I'm not a pro rider, and I don't want to endanger myself or someone else. So basically, I was getting about 8 or 9 second 0 to 60s on here in sport mode. I even tried custom mode, but then I had full torque control on. So that was kind of cheating it. I didn't want to spin the tires out while I was trying to do speed tests on here. So I basically looked it up from multiple reliable resources. Basically, the reported 0 to 60 on here is 4.7 seconds. I figured I would let you know what the professionals found were the 0 to 60 numbers on here. And for those of you that are not in the US, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5 seconds. Someone else on the YouTube comments wanted to know, can you stand up on this bike? I mean, you know, it is listed as an adventure bike. Can you stand up on it? Yes and no. I can stand up on here. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm standing up on the pegs. My knees are a little bit higher than like the tank / storage area, but I found the bars are too short to do that comfortably. So if you needed to do it briefly, I guess it would work out just fine. But if you're looking for something you can take on some dirt roads and stuff, then and stand up quite often, you might want to look at something else or get some risers. At minimum, get some bar risers for this bike. Another thing that I saw multiple comments coming in for were people that were asking if this bike is boring. And I've seen that a lot when referring to this bike specifically, you know, doing research prior to buying this and also doing research for these videos after the fact. I don't know why there's this perception that this bike is boring. It gets you a lot of fun, but is it going to be the most fun bike out there? No. Is it going to rip your face off when you're riding it? No, not at all. Not even close. But, you know, I'm a 6 foot tall guy, between 210, 220 pounds, and the bike gets me around just fine. And, you know, I don't have any problems with power at all on here. So for me personally, you know, I didn't pick this up to go racing or do any kind of, you know, speed runs or anything like that. So, you know, for my needs, it's working out perfectly. And finally, the last most popular question that I was getting on this bike, is it good for a new rider? And I would say absolutely, without a question, especially the DCT model. Very, very approachable. Even the manual model for that matter. This bike is very approachable to new riders. In my opinion, it's got enough power to get you where you want to go in a decent amount of comfort and a decent amount of style. Again, that is subjective. You may or may not like the looks of this. So now that I know what this bike can do, I'll take these corners a little faster. Not crazy fast, but you know, still kind of getting used to the bike. But I'm gonna have a little bit more fun on a return trip here. Excellent response. Even the braking. Well, that's about it, guys. You know, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this ride, but definitely want to thank you for watching my video today. If you liked it, click that like button, and definitely, you know, leave some comments in the comment section if you want to know anything about the 2021 NC750X, or you know, if you have an answer to some of the questions that I pose in the video. I'm definitely interested in your feedback. But again, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.